Hi everyone, this is Rohan from Paly Python, and we're going to be going over data structures today. Note that this is going to be an overview. For more detail on each of these data structures, go check out our following videos. Okay, so let's start with data types, or also known as primitive data structures. So they contain a data value. So there are integers, floats, strings, booleans, and then there's other more obscure ones, but we're going to focus on these today. So an integer is a number without any decimal places. So I have a variable called myInt and it's equal to 4. And a float is a number with decimal places. So it's pretty simple. And a string is basically any text content. So to signify that it's a string, you put quotes around it. And then finally, a boolean is true or false. So this is used in logic. So let's take a look at some of these. So I'm going to print my int and you'll see like it'll be pretty straightforward. For my string, I'm stringing, yeah, so that makes sense. So these are data types or primitive data structures. You can convert data types. So I have this variable called string to int, and basically how I'm naming these is this is what it starts off as, and this is what it gets converted to. So I have this string of 3, and I'm converting it into an integer. So as you can see, the result is 3. And similarly, when I convert the integer to a string, I get a string of 3. And then I can also do something like that for a float. So now let's move on to data structures. So if data types can only hold one data value, data structures can hold collections of data values. So a list is it's a quintessential example of a collection. So you signify that it's a list with brackets and comma separated values. So I have a string, it can hold all data types. So I have a string, I have a number, I have an integer, I have a float, I have a boolean. It can even hold other lists. And the important thing about lists are that they're indexed. So string is at the 0 at the index. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is at the first, and so on. So to access a list value, you access it by its index. So if I did print my list brackets 1, so this is the name of the list which I'm getting a value from, this is the index, that's what it would give me. And then note that if I tried to do 4, which doesn't exist, I'll get an index error. So we can just try that here. Let me comment this. So no, I'm not printing any of this, but Python will try to do this and then they'll say index error. So yeah, list index out of range. Let's comment that back up. Okay, and then if you want to change the value at an index, then I can just do my list 0. So at the 0th index, I can update that to a smiley face. So let's look at our list. I'm just changing, so now where it was string, it's now a smiley face, and you can do that for anything. So yeah, just note we're going to go more in depth. This is just a fast overview. And I can append, so to append is to add to the list. It adds at the end of the list. So if I append the string newly appended, then look at the end we have a string newly appended. So these are mutable. What does immutable mean? So mutable means it can be changed simply. So immutable means that it cannot be changed. So tuples are just like lists, but they can't be changed. You can't edit them, you can't add items, you can't delete. So that's helpful for some situations. Sets are unordered and unindexed, and they contain unique elements. So sets have brackets at the end, and I forgot to go over this. Tuples have parentheses, and they're unordered and unindexed, and they contain unique elements. So if I have duplicate set, I have 1, 1, and 2. When I print it, look, now it only shows 1 and 2. And the important thing about sets are that they're based off of hash tables. So they have a O of 1 lookup time. So you just need one operation to look up something, like a dictionaries. Lists, you'd have to just go through the list. So that would have an O of n lookup time. So sets are good. Here's a good application. If you want to store a collection of all of the words in the English language, okay, and if you put it in a list, and then if you want to check if this test word is in that list, you'd have to go through all of those words in the worst case. For sets, it's just O of 1 lookup time. Finally, let's look at dictionaries. This dictionary has key value pairs. So that means it looks like brackets. It kind of looks like the sets at the end, but it has a key, and then it has a colon, and then the value. And then commas. So this is a more, you can do it on one line too if you want. That's just more expanded to me, more readable. So let's look at what we have here. To access a value, similar to list indexing, we can just put the name of the dictionary that we want to check, brackets, and then the name of the key, and then we get the value. So if we do myDict key, we'll get value 1, 1, numbers, a list of numbers. So the keys are immutable. So for the keys, you have to use a data type or data structure that's immutable. So you can use numbers, strings, or tuples. And the values, you can use any data structure. So yeah, if you tried to put a list as your key, that's not going to work out. Usually you would just use strings as your keys, yeah, or numbers. Okay, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Go check out our other videos, and yeah, see you next time.